Good morning, Kamila.
Good morning, Carrie.
Here we are.
Here we are. How are you doing?
All things considered, doing all right. Always better when I show up on this couch with you. Yeah, just kind of a little escape from the world. So
Same.
I hope it feels like that for our listeners too. Just like a moment away from everything.
Yeah, an escape from the world, some
Escape. A healthy
healing,
escape. Yeah.
hanging out with friends.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Your therapist friends.
That's right. Do you want to do unfiltered moments?
Sure, yeah. So speaking of therapist friends,
Mhm.
this would be a thing I would share with my friends. I would not share this with clients in therapy.
Okay, here goes. Buckle up.
Here it is. Oh my gosh.
I'm excited.
Do you know Jacob Elordi?
No.
I
Am I a loser?
thought you wouldn't, and this is going to be so fun.
Jacob Elordi.
Okay.
Okay.
Wuthering Heights.
I
Heard of
love
it?
that book.
Okay. Well, we got to go see this movie
Ooh.
together.
What's up?
The movie's coming out with
my
Jacob
God.
Elordi
Okay.
and Margot Robbie.
Oh, I love her.
Yes, me too.
Okay.
She's gorgeous too.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's these two beautiful people on screen. Oh my God. I'm going to melt the whole movie theater and this
Okay.
whole, oh my God, the movie looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be really fun to show you the trailer
my
and for you to watch it live
here,
and to
live.
have your reaction to
She
Jacob
loves-
Elordi.
She loves just putting me on the spot
Yeah.
to watch my jaw drop, whether it's
Mhm.
Labubu's or I'm writing a children's book.
Yeah.
What a
It's so fun to
shocker.
surprise you.
my God.
Yeah.
I love a good surprise.
Okay. So
Jacob.
Terry is going to watch this trailer and let me know what you think about
Yeah.
Jacob Elordi.
Oh yeah, this one's so like crying. Just watch it. It's too much. It's too much. Like, literally, too much. What a gorgeous human being.
I know.
A couple of gorgeous.
I
human
know. They're
beings.
gorgeous humans.
That was, honest to God, one of my very favorite books. Like in all of like high school, college lit. You know,
Really?
Wuthering Heights, absolutely.
I never read it. I gotta read it now.
Oh,
Will I cry?
yes. Oh, yes.
Oh.
It is beautiful.
I'm gonna start it today.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, thank you. Okay, so my unfiltered moment is on a very different note, as they usually are. My unfiltered moment is that I cried at my first grader's culture performance last night. I think it would have been beautiful regardless. And I also just think the moment in time that we're in, it was like the message that needed to be delivered. First graders performed beautiful songs and dances from all around the world. And it was really, really sweet. And the way they ended the night was this book. It's a very short book that I'm going to read to you right now.
Oh.
It's called Whoever You Are by Mem Fox, who's an Australian author and illustrator. Little one, whoever you are, wherever you are, there are little ones just like you all over the world. Their skin may be different from yours, and their homes may be different from yours. Their schools may be different from yours, and their lands may be different from yours. Their lives may be different from yours, and their words may be very different from yours. But inside, their hearts are just like yours.
Gosh, sweet.
Whoever they are, wherever they are, all over the world, their smiles are like yours, and they laugh just like you. Their hurts are like yours, and they cry like you too. Whoever they are, wherever they are, all over the world. Little one, when you are older and when you are grown, you may be different. And they may be different. Wherever you are, wherever they are, in this big, wide world. But remember this, joys are the same, and love is the same. Pain is the same, and blood is the same. Smiles are the same, and hearts are just the same, wherever they are, wherever you are, wherever we are, all over the world.
That's beautiful. Did
Yeah.
they read that at the end?
They played a video of that book. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, that's what this is all about.
That's what we need right now.
Yeah, some unity and reminders that we're all human beings. This moment in time, there's a lot of inhumane things happening. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Yeah. Beautiful.
Mhm.
Like Glennon would say, brutal, brutal,
Yeah.
beautiful moment.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, Carrie. That's beautiful. And
Welcome.
I think it would be so nice for people to just replay that. Maybe we'll clip that
There you go.
into our little teaser for next time, and people
Yeah.
can just replay that poem
Yeah.
book for themselves as a great reminder.
Yeah, it's a good message.
Yeah, it's a beautiful message. Yeah. And our love for Jacob Elordi unites us all.
I think we need to find his picture and like maybe that's just the cover. I mean, that's going to draw people in. People are going to watch this if they see his face.
Yeah, for this episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my Lord.
Oh, I felt like a teenager. I'm just like fangirling. Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the big screen.
I know. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, we'll report back after we've seen this movie. Well, today's episode, we want to talk about something that's very near and dear to Camila's heart, especially. I don't know if everybody knows, but Kamila is an EMDR-trained therapist.
Yep.
And that's a word that I feel like is getting a lot more attention. Like you hear people say it. Sometimes they say EMRD or EDMR. EMDR.
Yeah.
What does EMDR stand for those that aren't familiar? Maybe you've heard of it, but have no idea what the acronym is.
Yeah, EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. And that's why we call it EMDR. I have had some clients like be like, I'm ready for my EDM. And I'm like, yeah, same girl. I love EDM.
Different.
I love electronic dance music. That's just a side about me.
I just recently learned that about you. I love that.
Like EMDR during the day, EDM by night.
I think we need to put that on a business card for you. Like that just sums up who you are in a lot of ways in that phrase.
Yeah, that's a great idea. EMDR draws from adaptive information processing theory, so AIP, so lots of acronyms for everything. And AIP says that when we have an experience that might have been something that was internalized in our system, so some kind of earlier experience that made us feel a certain way or respond to the world in a certain way, that experience gets stuck in our body, and then future experiences make us feel like we're right back there again. Or make us really believe that negative thought that we have about ourselves. So let's say the one I like to give this as an example often is one that I work with really often, and that's our self-worth, because a lot of people struggle with self-worth. Yeah. And the core negative image of I'm not enough or I'm not good enough. And so we can do EMDR around that, because there was a time in your life that made you believe like I'm not enough or I'm not good enough. So we go into the first time that you felt that way, and we start to work through that because something got stuck there. So for example, if we were a 7-year-old being bullied and that made us feel like I'm not enough, there's something wrong with me. And so then that experience gets stuck in our body. And then the next time we feel that we have an experience when we're not enough, it's like, yep, this just adds to this narrative. So it almost brings in this narrative therapy piece. And it keeps building. Yeah, it keeps building on it. Yeah. So then what we do is we go into that earliest memory and we start to process through it through rapid eye movement, and bilateral stimulation, because that happens through the eye movement when we're either holding buzzers or our eyes are going back and forth on a screen, looking at a circle, or there's many different ways, tapping. And then we start to process that experience from start to finish and realize, because of that bilateral stimulation and eye movement, exceptions to that story of like, oh, that was about that kid and that wasn't really about me. And and that's not right. And here's the other people that were in my life that were making me feel good. So we're kind of working through that whole story until we fully in our body believe a positive thought that we want to believe instead. And and then feel absolutely no distress. And then we go to the next memory and the next memory. And so people can get to a place where they're like, wow, I no longer feel like I'm not enough, or I feel really good. So we can do it with deeper things like that.
Yeah.
Because what we found is trauma isn't just like one, big event. Yeah, it can be the combination of all these things, or just anything that gets stuck in our body.
Yeah, lots of little T's.
Yeah.
Little T trauma. It has me thinking of like, this is a strange thing to say, but like death by 1,000 cuts versus just one big T trauma. Your family survived a fire or something. Like,
which we can definitely do EMDR around something like that too, where it's just one event.
Yeah.
And that will probably be shorter. That'll be a few sessions that we can work through one event. But sometimes we go in, like we've talked about, we go into therapy for one event and we realize, oh, this is really heightened and impacted by so many other events. So when we're working through this theme in your life, like I'm not good enough, for example, it will take quite a bit longer, maybe a year or maybe longer. If we're working through just one single event, it could take a few sessions.
Sure. Kamila, let's do kind of like interview style. So I'll pretend that I don't really know much at all, excuse me, about EMDR. When clients come in, do they know that I need to do EMDR, or does that usually come to them during your time working together that like, oh yeah, there's something there more? Yeah. What's more common?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
So I do have clients, since EMDR is talked about a lot more by celebrities recently and in podcasts, and there's a lot coming out about EMDR. It's feeling more approachable. People are seeing it on TikTok. So I do have people reaching out to me for EMDR specific. But what often happens actually is I do get into a session with clients, and a few sessions in, maybe we're 5 sessions in or something, and I'm starting to notice these bigger patterns, these things that are really impactful. And then I bring up EMDR and I explain it. So I ask them if they've heard of it. I explain how it works. Everything that I just said in here.
Okay.
So a mix of both.
Nice. Something else I'm wondering is, do clients typically like know, okay, there's this theme of I'm not good enough. Do they usually have access to these memories when they come in that like, yep, I remember at 7, this kid was bullying me? Or is it more like you really help them find it?
Yeah. So that's what's really cool about EMDR, because many people, when I do bring up something like this to them, they're like, well, I can't really remember many things. And that can be a part of also a trauma response, because we're in just survival and fight or flight for such a long time. And so then we feel like, oh, I don't remember much from my childhood or my adolescence. And so, no, and it isn't the job for people to know or remember these memories. And sometimes people ask, like, should I go home and journal or reflect on times when I felt this way? And I'm like, no, please don't, because that could be really activating. So there's actually a sequencing of questions that we have in EMDR that activates that part of our brain that goes into that area that can access those memories. Which is really cool. So we do first just like an overall history and gathering, and then we come up with goals that we would want in EMDR. And then we go into a lot of preparation. So about sometimes 2, sometimes 3 sessions of just a lot of really grounding, calming exercises. And some incorporating the bilateral stimulation to really have a really great wealth of resources to go into processing something so difficult. Because the next session that you come in, it's like, hey, let's talk about all the times you felt worthless. We want to have a really great like wealth of resources, so people feel like, okay, I'm ready to get into this. But
I'm armored up, like I have tools. I'm not going to be floundering. There's a net to catch me. Sounds like.
So really a lot of protective barriers. If it starts to feel uncomfortable, we pause, we create more resources. We're always leaving the session calmer than we entered. So there's a lot of like safeguards and caretaking around clients when it comes to EMDR, because it is really, it's more intense. That's why we do a lot of preparation, because we are activating that part of the brain that holds all those memories. And that's why people are able to then recall those memories. Because we're getting into a different part of our brain. We're leaving our prefrontal cortex through those specific questions and entering that part of our brain. And
that sounds so powerful.
yeah.
Really cool. I'm trying to think how we could explain this to people that are wondering what the process looks like. Let's say we're doing the tapper method and you're the therapist and I'm holding the tappers and it is about worthiness. You're asking me questions. I'm accessing these memories. Am I talking? Am I sharing with you or is it internal?
It's mostly internal. We
Okay.
do a check-in. So oftentimes people feel like, oh, I don't want to do this wrong. And there's no way for a client to do it wrong. There's so many things for the therapist to look out for. It might look like we're just sitting there and be like, go with that. But there's a lot that we're observing and looking for and managing and checking in with. So someone would be holding the buzzers and would be thinking about this negative thought and the emotions it brings up and the feelings it brings up in their body, and they're holding these buzzers and they're vibrating alternatively. It's that bilateral stimulation. And they start to have like different thoughts about that. And then after a certain amount of sets, I pause the buzzers, I turn them off, and I say, what did you notice? Or what did you get? And then we check in, and it's really important that someone only tells me. I cut them off, and I tell clients that ahead of time. Like, I will cut you off. I don't want you to go into like full explaining because that'll bring you back into your prefrontal cortex. We're like just staying in there. So there's
the feeling, not the thinking, would you say?
Yeah. So in just that experience.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of therapists use this metaphor of we're on a train together and we're watching these memories out the window, and then the train, that's when I pause, the train stops and we let off some of those things when we get on and we keep watching. Then I say, what did you notice? And someone might say, oh, this kid doing this thing or saying this thing. And I'm like, okay, go with that. And then we just follow that thought. And then whatever happens next, then go with that and go with that.
While the buzzers are going again, like you get back into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we pause. What did you notice?
Yeah.
And then they tell me, and I'm like, okay, go with that. Notice that. And then they're noticing that with the buzzers going again. And then we pause again, check in. Yeah. And it's cool for people that are like, I don't really want to talk about these things.
Right.
It's like you don't have to. You can share barely anything too. Like there's people are like, I've had sessions with clients where I don't really know like what they're fully processing, and that's okay because it's their work. It's just to create that safe container and to manage it. It's really cool.
That sounds so powerful.
Because it's like a lot of people maybe don't want to talk about that trauma.
Wow. To think that you might go to therapy and not do that much talking is really like kind of mind blowing, right? Okay. And I imagine as a therapist too, there's something nice for you about having that balance of, you know, a lot of talk therapy and then this more, I don't want to say active, but just it's a very different modality.
Yeah. Right? And it's very active in a different way. But it's nice to just not use my voice.
Right. And you're witnessing and you're the container and you are, I love when you talk about, you know, we're not just saying go with that. Like you are observing and guiding.
Yeah.
You know, keeping
managing the speed. Yeah. Seeing like if their eyes are following it or if they're, you know, how their body is responding, if they are having any kind of somatic response. There is just like hundreds of things we're looking for, like little micro things. Yeah.
Wow. And this is an evidence-based therapy. I mean, the evidence is out there that it's very effective.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, at least me, when I first heard of EMDR, I think a lot of us think about like veterans. This is a really big modality to use with veterans trauma and PTSD, right?
Yeah, that was originally.
Okay.
That was originally how it was researched, and that's where it was started. And then it's expanded to so many different things. Because as we've learned, I feel like even when we were in grad school, when we talked about trauma, it was like neglect,
more of the big T stuff.
And then what we've learned, even with Bessel van der Kolk coming out with The Body Keeps the Score and everything, how the trauma is stored in the body. And how we can work it out. And that trauma can be anything that just gets stuck. And that creates this negative, nagging thing. So even when cognitively and rationally we can tell ourselves, I know this isn't true. Like, for example, if someone's like, I know I'm a good person, I know I'm a good mom. But when these things happen, it's like, ugh, this gut punch, awful feeling like I'm a horrible person, I'm a bad mom. And so, okay, what's underneath there? And then we might find like, oh, this goes back to worthiness actually. And like these first like times that you felt unworthy, and now it's connected to your relationship with mothering. And
oh my gosh, it's the Origins book. What's the name of it again? You recommended recently.
The Origins of You by Vienna Fair. And I actually sometimes when I do EMDR with clients, I do have them read that book first and kind of pinpoint like which wound do you feel like really stuck with you, really resonates, and then we can do EMDR around that wound.
That's a beautiful combination.
I love it.
Oh, I wish you could be my therapist. So fun. I would really love to experience that. That sounds awesome. I'm partway through that book. I'm a kind of person that reads like a million books at once and then struggles to finish them because I find so many things interesting. But yeah, that is really cool. I would highly recommend to anybody. Really, anybody.
Love it.
Do you feel like there's anybody that EMDR is inappropriate for?
It's tricky because there's some diagnoses that it's not recommended for. Those things can be ruled out in that intake session. So there's some diagnoses that it's contraindicated for.
Like if there's not enough stability like in oneself maybe to handle.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Or like really, really high crises too.
Sure.
Things like that. But the cool thing is sometimes we may need to just resource more. Like sometimes someone might need, a lot of DBT and a lot of those skills, and then they might be able to go into it.
Sure.
So there's ways to work with it, but that can all be assessed by the therapist.
And DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy for those that are in the field. Another acronym, DBT, is a great modality for like skill building, coping skills, right?
Yeah. For regulating really strong emotions and creating some good coping skills.
Where would one go if they're interested in this kind of therapy? Like how do you find an EMDR therapist? I'm imagining there's a lot of people listening that are like, wow, that sounds fascinating, but where do I start?
So emdria.org would have a directory of EMDR-trained therapists. So you could look up on there, and that's EMDRIA.org. At the top there, it says find an EMDR therapist, and you can search there. So that would be nationwide because your therapist does have to be in the state or licensed in the state where you are. So we are in Minnesota. The other, I believe on Psychology Today, you can filter by modality. So you could go on psychologytoday.com and filter by modality. You can filter by insurance, all kinds of things. And then your therapist will come up by your zip code.
Is EMDR a modality that typically is covered by insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's fully covered by insurance because it is empirically validated. And
cool. How'd you get into this? Like where were you along your career path when you decided, I want to get certified in this?
That's a really great question. Yeah, I actually had my own EMDR therapy.
Amazing. So you experienced firsthand the power.
Yeah, so
love that.
I experienced it, I think, in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, and the first time I experienced it, I hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So
what was it? Like what was...
I was like, wow, this is intense.
Okay.
And this is bringing up a lot of stuff for me, and I don't think I'm ready for this.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I told my therapist, we took a break. So this is really great information too, because I always tell clients in the first session, I'm like, please be honest with me. If anything feels off, if it feels wrong or too intense, you don't have to ghost me. Like, just tell me.
Right.
Like, like this isn't like now we're doing EMDR forever. And it's also helpful to balance it with some talk therapy sessions too.
Okay.
So like when you choose to go into EMDR, it's not like now we're doing it. We're not doing anything else.
Consecutively, like 10 sessions in a row.
Exactly. We can take breaks. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very flexible, but I didn't like it. And then a year later, I decided to return to it, and I found it life-changing, and that's why I got trained in it, because this place, my clinic, Achilles Holistic Wellness, would not exist without EMDR.
Wow.
I always tell my therapist, I'm like, oh, thank you.
Wouldn't exist without EMDR because, like, how has it changed your life? Maybe just in general, what would you say?
The worthiness thing, and that's why I think I love working with that with clients so much, because that was a theme that was coming up for me, was worthiness and fear of being seen, and like it felt really raw and vulnerable, and I didn't really want to be seen. And so this is a big step that we're doing. And this,
like literally, how more intimately seen. Wow,
Yeah.
Kamila, that is a testament right there.
I know. I know.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Success was like a thing that kept coming up. Like, I was really scared of like success. I don't know. Like, that was like I was like, well, like, what does success mean to me? I'm like, if I'm successful, then that could be really scary and vulnerable and like risky, and people would really see me. Yeah.
Right. Opening yourself up more for, exposure.
Because I was that kid. I was really, I'm an immigrant kid. I moved to the US when I was 10 years old, and I was really bullied for my accent and for being different. And so I think then what happened is I was little, and I would like pray at night that my accent would go away, because I was like, I don't want to be different.
Oh my God.
And so I think, I think that like then going out there and doing things like this, like vulnerable things, it is being different.
Right.
It's not like sticking with what everyone else is doing, and it leaves room for judgment and
absolutely
negative comments, and or like opening a clinic or going into private practice. It's like, what if people don't want to see me? And so working through all of that allowed me to do all these beautiful things. And that's why I do EMDR, because I want to then help other people feel that way.
What a beautiful share. Like, I feel like I knew maybe some of those themes, but to like hear it all put together like that is really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for opening up about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What do you feel like, if worthiness was the wound, one of the wounds, maybe, like, what is the antidote to unworthy? Well, I'm answering my worthiness. So you found a sense of worthiness that gave you the strength, the bravery to do.
And like the worthiness of, I am worthy just as I am, just as a human. Everybody's worthy. No baby is born unworthy. Like, then society and culture and other people and this evilness that happens in the world prescribes that, but nobody's unworthy. We are all worthy human beings. And it's not like I'm fully healed, right? So like,
we never really are.
So when things trigger us, it's just about noticing that, and it's like, okay, how do I work through that now? Or do I need just like a little bit more like therapy around that right now in this phase of my life? Like, for example, as a mother, like some things have hit on that recently, on that wound. And so I just get a little tune-up. Like, I'm gonna see my therapist and work through that. And
I love that. That's a good way to describe that. It's like you've maybe had a more major car repair, which is like all the hard, heavy lifting, vulnerable work you did at EMDR and other therapy, and then these tune-ups along the way to check in, or like a wellness visit after a big surgery, continuing to check in with your doctor.
Exactly.
And I wish, well, we are making strides in the mental health world, in society, I guess, but I guess my hope is that we continue to just normalize that, oh my gosh, just like our cars and our physical bodies need and are worthy of, deserve this kind of care, so does our mental health. All connected.
Well, and I love that more people in the public eye have been speaking out about mental health too. And the benefits, and seeing a therapist. It's wonderful.
It just normalizes. I mean, this is like full circle back to the book. Like, you're sharing about all children all around the world There's things different about us, and really a lot more in common than there is different. And we are all worthy.
Yeah, you are worthy just as you are. And if you don't feel that way fully in your body, then maybe that just needs some more tending to through EMDR or something else, but something to just get curious about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Take
Well,
really
cheers.
good cares of yourself. Take really good care of yourself, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to mental health.
Cheers to worthiness. Bye.
Thanks for hanging with us on This Is Not Therapy. If you enjoyed today's conversation, come back next time for more real talk, unfiltered moments, and maybe a little bit of laughter. Until then, take care of yourself, and don't forget, this is not therapy.